I'm Gerald Bentley. This is Wrestling with Sales. This week, we're talking about when you play through pain, you're ready to fight for the sale. In the wrestling ring this weekend, we saw the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes come back after being out months with the Torn Pec, his first match since that brutal Hell in the Cell match with Seth Rollins. That was most people's match of the year. It was the Royal Rumble, and he won. Also, in AEW, Adam Cole came back after being out for months with multiple concussions and a shoulder injury from that match for the IWGP title, the fatal four-way that he was in. And in the AFC Championship game, saw Patrick Mahomes run the Chiefs into position to win the game and advance to the Super Bowl only 1 week after suffering a high ankle sprain. They're all playing through pain. Are you able to do it to get your sale? Let's go to the ring and find out. He was out for almost 9 months after tearing his pec before the Hell in the Cell match. Actually, he wrestled it with the torn pec, and most people said that was the match of the year. He literally did play through the pain. And like I referenced with story time, Adam Cole is just now getting back after almost 6 months from a shoulder tear and a pair of concussions. So they were really playing through the pain, trying to win. And this past weekend, the AFC Championship game, Patrick Mahomes on a high ankle sprain threw for 326 yards and had the rush that, along with the late hit, set the Chiefs up to get that game-winning field goal and go to the Super Bowl. So very much playing through pain. That's usually an injury that keeps you out for 4 to 6 weeks. Now, how does that relate to car sales? That's a good question. How does fighting through a torn pec, a concussion, a high ankle sprain, how does that relate? Well, obviously it doesn't relate directly, but on a day-to-day basis, you do have the option of fighting through the obstacles, fighting through the pain to get to the sale, or just taking the easy route and taking an order, telling somebody, hey, I understand. This is exactly what you want. Here's what we'll do. We'll put you on the list. We'll take a deposit. And as soon as we get it, we'll let you know. Now, to a degree, that's okay because there's still very little inventory. If you're at a Honda dealership, if you're at a Toyota dealership, a Subaru dealership, and for that matter, certain models with Hyundai, Kia, Ford, Chevrolet, any of the other GM brands, you're really limited to what you have access to right now in the lot. So there are going to be some cases where you do have to take an order, where you don't have a choice. You can't fight through it. You just have to take it. But in a lot of instances, the customers aren't really super locked in on that particular car. They are willing to move. There's research from cars.com, from TrueCar, that shows that about 60% of people who submit a lead end up buying something else. And that's research that was done before the inventory shortages. So now you have to think that number's only gone up. But if you don't fight through it, if you don't power your way through the pain, if you don't make it a little bit hard on yourself, you're never going to find out, because you're going to be too willing to just accept that that's the only car they're going to buy. I have to take the order. I have to move on. I don't have any other options. I can't fight through it. I can't play through this pain. I just have to take the order. That's just a losing mentality. You don't get to the win. You don't fight to get to a goal by doing that. Now, in the last couple of years, have people been able to be successful by just taking orders, just giving up? No fight, no reason to show you a used car, no reason to switch to another vehicle that we may have sooner. I'll just take the order because I know I'm going to get it, and I'll get my 5 orders, and that way I'll make enough money, and it doesn't matter, and it's easy. Yeah, I mean, some people were able to do that as long as you had a low aspiration. You didn't really care how much you sold. You were just trying to make a certain dollar amount. Sure, it's still a loss, but yeah, you could do it. Well, now it's different. Now things are going to get hard because some brands do have inventory. Some people are just frustrated because they haven't been able to find the car they want for a year. And the first person who makes an effort to try to sell them something today, they'll say yes. Why not let it be you? That's what I mean by fighting through the pain. It's going to have to be a little bit harder this year. You're going to have to suggest things. You're going to have to know your used car inventory. As a manager, you're going to have a really good grasp of what is being made by your brand, what you are getting allocated, and what you have access to. You're not just going to be able to blindly take orders and let them sit. If you do, you'll be like plenty of dealerships around the country that have a 2-3 year backlog on cars. Well, guess what? Those customers aren't going to buy them. They're not. These aren't want purchases that generally we're taking care of. They're need purchases. The car they're driving is not going to last 3 years. The average car on the road in America now is 12.3 years old. That's 12 years and 4 months old. Those cars are about done. They're not going to make it to year 15. And if they do make it to year 15, guess what? You may not be there at that dealership. You may be gone somewhere else. Your time to do it is now. Your time to get the sale is now. That's what I mean by fighting through the pain. If you just give up, you just take the order, you're never going to get the sale. It just isn't going to happen. And now, I know you're probably thinking, well, hey, why would the customer put an order not thinking that the car is ever going to come in? They have to have seen that there's no cars on the lot. The lots have been empty for 3 years now. I hear all the time at dealerships, what, are they living under rocks? No, they're not. This number that I just quoted ties back in. If the average car is 12.3 years old, that means the average customer, let's say they have 2 cars in the household, they're only buying a car every 6 years and 2 months. You're not even halfway to the point where the average customer has been on a lot to see the lack of inventory. So you're going to get lots of it. That's where it's your job to, again, to fight through the pain, to explain what's happening, to be able to give a reasonable explanation of what's out there, what's available, and what's realistic. Because otherwise, if you just blindly take an order, guess what? The customer's thinking that car's coming in a month or two because that's how it normally works. Well, it's not. You may get a car in a month or two, but your odds of getting a red line Traverse in wind chill with a black and red interior, almost zero. You may get a LT Traverse in silver. Is the customer going to take that? No, they're not. And that's what I mean by you have to fight through the pain. I really relate to the athletes who do this because when I was a school athlete and college athlete, I came back from a broken back and from 12 knee surgeries. I had to play through lots of pain. I had to fight through lots of it in order to get back out there on the court or on the mat and be able to compete. If I didn't fight through the pain, I wouldn't have ever gotten back to compete. The broken back would have taken me out. If that didn't, the ACL, the MCL, the PCL on my left leg would have done it, let alone the right leg. Now, maybe it wasn't the smart thing to do. Maybe stopping would have been the better idea, but you accomplish a lot. You learn from going through the obstacles, from fighting. And the same is true with sales. You'll find that when you actually wait on somebody that wanted to place an order and you convince them instead that the car you have in stock is actually a fit and it's really the best fit because it matches the main needs they have and you can get a deal on it right now, that's a win. And you did it by fighting through the pain. You're not wrestling 30 guys in a battle royale at the Royal Rumble. You're not Adam Cole going in a fatal 4-way for the New Japan title. No, you're just trying to sell a car. But in a way, you are in the fight. You are battling. And that's where you want to be. That's where the job's fun. And that's where you make a great living. If you just take an order, anybody can do that. And guess what? You're going to get paid what anybody would get paid. You're really probably losing. So that's why you need to understand that taking the time and figuring out what it takes to get the win is important. Fighting through it, getting to the end. That's what needs to happen this year, because it's going to be a challenging year. Your interest rates are way higher this year than last year. So used cars that were affordable last year aren't now to a lot of people. It's going to take more work to get the same sales. And whatever records you set this year are going to be records you legitimately earned because you're working for it. It's not a market pandemic fueled feeding frenzy like you had the last 2 years. Now you're going to have to really dig in. You're going to have to figure out what car can fit. Maybe where can I get the car? You may have to get cars shipped from across the country for a customer. Or you may get the opportunity to sell a car you have and ship it across the country to a customer because they found it on your website, which is really a win, because now you're creating deals. You're not even just taking the deals that come in. You're taking a lead and turning it into a sale, selling the car without ever even seeing the customer. And that makes shipping cars important. Our sponsor, Montway Auto Transport, well, they do have a question for dealers. Hey, do you know where your vehicles are and when they'll arrive? I know the inventory management challenges dealers face, so I'm certain the answer is a resounding no. But Montway Auto Transport can change your answer to a confident yes with the Montway Automation Portal, better known as MAP. MAP offers a smarter way to move and manage orders while giving you end-to-end visibility of all inbound and outbound units. You can upload VINs, get pricing, dispatch the orders, and track every unit on the dashboard. Leveraging MAP can save you time and money and get vehicles to your lots quicker to sell. With MAP, you can book, track, and manage your inventory from one revolutionary platform. See MAP in action at www.montway.com/MAP. Write this down. It's www.montway.com/MAP and put your dealership on the map. So there's a way to get the cars to the customer or get cars you need to your dealership. You can contact Montway Auto Transport, and that'll help you out a little bit. But it's going to be a challenge this year. You're going to have to figure out from a management side how to get vehicles in stock to sell. Because without new inventory, that means used inventory is way, way less available. You can see that if you just check out some of the auction runs. Auto auctions that would normally have 1,500 cars running have 300. It's a huge drop in what would normally be available. Rental car companies that would normally have 1,000, 1,500 cars to sell to dealerships in a region, well, they may have 50. So every deal is going to be a challenge. Every single one is going to take that little bit of extra work. If you're going to win your dealership's title, if you're going to win your personal title, to be a sales champion, whatever that number means to you, it's going to take the extra effort. And just to close where we started, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble. He's going to go on to WrestleMania to face the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion of the world, Roman Reigns, at WrestleMania. In Cody's song, one of the lines is, "My father told me hard times make better men." Well, the hard times you're facing right now in sales, it will make better sales representative, men and women, because now you're having to work. You're having to fight to get those sales. You're having to play through the pain to get to the goals. And when things loosen up a bit, when you have a little bit more inventory, when you have that extra flexibility, everything's going to be easier. And you'll see these hard times will make you better when you're in the sales ring and you're trying to wrestle with sales. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on iHeart Radio, and coming soon on Sirius XM Radio. You can listen to the podcast as well. But of course, YouTube's available. New episodes every week. You can subscribe, you can like, and I'd love to see some comments as well. Let me know what you're doing to play through the pain, to fight for the sale in this market with the lack of inventory and some of the challenges that you're facing with the interest rates going up. It's definitely not an easy environment right now, but you can still win. You can still out wrestle the sales. You can still win your title and be your champion of sales. Until next week, when we'll be back with guest on Wrestling with Sales, I'm Gerald Bentley. Thanks for joining.